Holy shit, what a wild first day of free agency for the Eagles. We're going to go over who they got rid of, who they picked up, and by God, Howie Roseman, I give you props. You did things for this team that I didn't think was possible. Specifically getting rid of Byron Maxwell and trading Kiko Alonso for anything. Like, I'm stunned, but we'll get to all that in a second. Anyways, as a self-proclaimed Howie hater, I gotta give credit where credit is due. I like the things he did, but with a lot of these things he did, there comes a little bit of criticism, and we're gonna go over them here. All right, who do you bring in off of free agency? Chase Daniel got brought in. Now, not surprised by this at all. You want a quality backup. You want Sanchez to get the fuck out and stay the fuck out. I understand the need to do that. So we got the whole get the fuck out, stay the fuck out Sanchez move done by bringing in a Doug Peterson friendly guy that he's worked with in Kansas City for a number of seasons, and Chase Daniel, someone who I think is going to be a quality backup in this league. And I saw they signed him for 3 years. When I saw that, I was like, okay, this guy, 3 years, I'm going to say highball, about $12 million. They got him before, maybe $13 million. You know, I give him $13 million. It's the coach's boy and all. 3 years, $25 million. I saw that. I was like, holy shit. What has this guy done to warrant, in any sort of capacity, a 3-year contract worth $25 million? Now, I know it's a low cap hit for this season. I know it's a lot of incentive-based laden contract years that are going to be very hard for him to hit, but still just out of principle. What has this guy done to even get offered a contract worth $25 million over 3 years, incentive-laden or not? Like, I just think that is ridiculous. Anyway, the guy's only started 2 games in the league. 2 games. Anyways, I don't have a problem with bringing him in. I have a little bit of problem, obviously, with the amount that they brought him in for. But again, I know he's not going to make all that money here, and it's a low cap hit for this season. That's what really matters, and hopefully that money helps to get used. That low cap money helps get used to sign Fletcher Cox, but at the same time, I hope they kind of don't. But I'll get to that in a little bit. Look, it's Doug Peterson's guy. I have no problem with him bringing in a quarterback that he's familiar with to help teach the Doug Peterson system, like to the backup guys, or maybe run Bradford through it in practice and whatnot. I have no problem with them bringing Chase Daniel in. The amount, yeah, I kind of have an issue with it. Safety, Rodney McLeod, signed 5 years for $35 million. I want everyone to remember that Howie Roseman is the guy that brought in Nnamdi Asomugha. All right? My biggest complaint of Howie Roseman is his assessment of talent. Now, when I say Nnamdi Asomugha, I'm not so much relating him to Rodney McLeod. I'm just saying here that Howie better be right on this, because that is a lot of money to be given to a guy in your secondary. And I just, I think there's cheaper options they could have gone with. They could have gone with the draft, but we'll see if Howie's assessment of talent, and I've seen some of the highlight packages of McLeod, and the guy looks like he can lay down the lumber, something that Asomugha couldn't do on his strongest day. It looks like he's the type of guy that will put his shoulder down, put it in the receiver's chest, go right at a tight end, try and knock the ball free. I like that type of play. I'm not going to criticize him. Earn your worth. That's all I got to say. Offensive guard, Brandon Brooks. 5 years, $40 million. Put him in right at right guard and tell Tobin to meet Sanchez at Panera for lunch in the get the fuck out of town dinner. I said meet him for lunch and they're having dinner. They can stay for fucking get out of town dinner too then. anyways, you need to address the offensive line, and it is addressed. 5 years, $40 million. This kid better be a player. This kid better be a player. This better not be Tobin 2.0. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, Brandon, you better be stacking motherfuckers all season. Outside linebacker, Nigel Bradham. Signed for 2 years. Doesn't have the specifics on his contract yet. Kiko Alonso replacement. All I gotta say is he can't be as bad as Kiko Alonso. Like there's no way. No way. Unless he's an avid fisherman like Kiko Alonso was, who liked to dig for earthworms by keeping his face in the field during the game. Okay, as long as he's not an avid fisherman who likes to search for earthworms, he's not going to be as bad as Kiko Alonso. And you need an outside linebacker that can play, especially you're switching to the 4-3 defense this year. So, okay. Replace Kiko, replace the hole, if you want to call it a hole that's caused by getting rid of Kiko. And last but not least, or maybe least, at least in money-wise, cornerback Ron Brooks. 3 years, $5.5 million. Okay, that's just a somebody signing. That's just kind of just like it's like a junk contract, a free agency junk contract. And hopefully you catch lightning with a bottle. Maybe they saw something in this kid that's going to pan out specifically for this team. Maybe Doug Peterson saw something that he likes. Maybe Schwartz saw something that he likes. Whoever, whatever, who cares? I like the acquisitions because they address needs, but especially with these contract sizes, these guys better come to play. Especially someone like Chase Daniel. He better be someone that you can at least count on winning 50% of the games if Bradford's out with an injury. Because that's the type of contract you give to a backup quarterback 3 years at $25 million. That's the type of contract you give to a guy that can win half the games that you expect from him when your starting quarterback's injured. And this whole thing, I just want to address something that kept coming up. The whole thing of, and even Doug Peterson said this yesterday, that Chase is going to have a fair opportunity to play for the starting quarterback position with Sam Bradford. The fuck out of here with that noise. That there is no way, shape, or form anyone but Bradford, unless he's injured, is taking balls as the starting quarterback from under center. There ain't no way, shape, or form about it. End of discussion. I know sometimes coaches say that to kind of create the rivalry of I want to outshine the guy behind me and don't want him to take my spot, and you get the better out of a guy from that. So maybe that's what Doug Peterson's doing, trying to get a better version of Sam Bradford. Whatever. I don't care how dog shit Sam Bradford looks in the preseason. He is still week 1 starting quarterback. End of story. Now, moving on to who was gotten rid of. DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray, when I first heard this break, I even tweeted this out. I said DeMarco Murray traded to Tennessee Titans. I was like, I think this would just be hysterical if Tennessee lost their mind and just traded Mariota to Philadelphia for DeMarco Murray just to spite Chip Kelly. Okay, it didn't end up being that. Not that I thought for a second it was going to be that, but I just thought it'd been hysterical if that's actually what happened. I gotta admit, this is the one person that was changed sides here, that I actually wanted to see what he would have done here next year or this season. I was really interested to see what he was going to look like with a much better offensive line, with a quarterback that isn't hiking the ball in a hurry up offense every single down, that isn't always in shotgun. I was really interested to see, and frankly, even what DeMarco, what DeMarco was even joking about yesterday, saying like, yeah, I had a whole year off. A lot of people were kind of pissed about that. I was kind of pissed at first, but I was like, he's like, yeah, he kind of really did. He barely got the ball, barely got any yardage, didn't take too many hits. So I'm like, wow, you got pretty much a fresh, rejuvenated running back that got barely any mileage on him last season. I'd be curious to see what he would do in this offense. And I'm not going to say I'm going to ever expect an 1,800-yard season out of him ever again, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gives you 1,200. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think Tennessee made a good trade here, and that's the one guy who I think just, should have kept a hold on just to see what could. Granted, huge amount of money on his contract and a huge cap hit. So I'm still going to side a little bit more with Howie Roseman on this, even though I was interested. But a lot of that is, I'm asking inside myself, I'm saying, Archfiend, in all honesty, one of the main reasons why you want to see him stay here is you want to see him do well and see Dallas fans have to suck it up. And I'll admit, that's hands down one of the reasons why I'd want to see DeMarco do good here. Because, Dallas fans, we're just so happy to see him fall flat on his face last year. I want to see him still shine high. But, if he does it on another team now, especially a non-NFC East team, it doesn't sting as much to Dallas fans. It doesn't sting as much. But anyway, that's that. Kiko Alonso. I didn't think that there was anyone in this league that had an ounce of interest in him. If you looked at his tape from last season, I don't know what you saw that said, yeah, you know what, there's potential with this kid. Okay, there's potential if you saw what he did in Buffalo 3 seasons ago, before he injured his leg. But ever since, he's looked like dog shit. Like I said, he spent most of the season with his face in the turf trying to find earthworms to go fishing with. And on top of that, all the people saying, like, he just needed time to heal those legs up, rest that knee, get that 100%. Man, if you watch his tape, a lot of his ability to suck last season had nothing to do with his legs. He didn't want to get hit. He didn't want to be in front of someone running at him. He let people run through his grasp. Last I checked, he never had an arm injury, so why the hell isn't he at least grabbing people? He's olaying people all game. He just looks like a guy that completely lost his football instinct, lost his passion, lost his pride. He just sucks. Good riddance. Byron Maxwell. The man whose fittingly initials are the same as bowel movement. Old BM, and his fat, ridiculous, I already got a ring, so give me my money contract. A guy who's even said he's just playing for the money. Now, granted, a lot of players just play for the money, but this guy ain't going to give you extra effort. You're kidding yourself if you think he is. It take you and you're playing for your money ass, and you already got your one ring off the backs of the real defense that you left behind in Seattle. 3 Pro Bowlers that you left behind on that secondary and linebacking core in Seattle. Anyways, it goes to show you, he was nothing more than a product of a superior defense that made the weakest link even look great. Anyways, bye-bye, BM. Have fun in Miami. Thank you, Miami. Everyone in the NFL is still wondering why Miami committed to doing this. I still don't understand either. What the Eagles... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not even going over what the Eagles got for DeMarco Murray. Traded and got a 4th-round bump-up pick. So they're basically taking the Titans pick in the 4th round, and then they get the Eagles first pick in the 4th round. So instead of being the 13th pick in the 4th round, the Eagles are now the first or the second pick in the 4th round. So I'm like, okay, that's not really much of anything, but to get anything for DeMarco at this point, okay, sure, I'll take it. And Kiko and Bowel movement, I don't understand. I'm floored and I'm excited with this, and this is the one move where I'm just like, Howie, I don't know how you did it. I don't know what dumb motherfucker you got on the phone over there in Miami and convinced them that this was a good deal, but my God. Eagles moved from 13th to 8th in this season's NFL draft. That is such a tremendous difference in quality of talent that you can get. Like, I mean, if you really want to shore up that offensive line now, have at it. Have at it. Oh my God, I mean, I was excited in the prospect of the Eagles draft before, but I mean, I'm like, this is the guy that drafted Danny Watkins. Don't ever forget that. And I haven't forgotten, Howie. By the way, Howie, who else did you draft 2 seasons ago? Oh, it actually came out that you were the motherfucker that picked Marcus Smith. Danny Watkins, Marcus Smith, 3rd time, you're out of here. This 1st round pick, especially an 8th pick in the draft, if this pick falls flat on its face, bye-bye, Howie. No second chances. I don't care if everyone else that you picked and traded and whatever else this year pans out, bye-bye. Ain't falling for that again. Anyway, 8th pick in the draft. Oh, thank you, Miami. Thank you. Oh, shit. Now, going the whole thing about what I said, the good thing that the Eagles have now is they cut a lot of cap space. They used up a bit of it with the free agency signings, but they still have quite a bit left now. Just getting rid of DeMarco and Bowel movement's contracts is such a huge cap relief. Now, granted, not so much DeMarco because he didn't cost much against the cap this season. It's still a bit, but Maxwell Bowel movement specifically, huge cap relief to get him off the books. And how I said earlier on in this video, how, you know, it gives you space and time, or space and money to sign a guy like Fletcher Cox, you know, get that stud on the defensive line, shirt up for years on end. Honestly, I didn't see enough out of Fletcher Cox last year. Not that I thought he had a bad year by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to see a little of what he can do in a 4-3 before I commit to a long-term contract with him. I personally do. Would I be surprised if Howie and the Eagles sign him before we really get to see what he does in a 4-3? No, I won't be surprised at all. But I'd really like to see what he does in the 4-3 defense, because I think he might do better, he might do worse. I don't know. I really want to see what he does in the 4-3 before we commit to him long term. He's still signed for this year. Worst case scenario is you don't get him re-signed this season. You franchise him next year. So I'm looking at him like, worst case scenario is we got him for 2 more seasons. Guaranteed. So I'm fine with that. I'm fine if we don't get his situation wrapped up in the preseason here, or before or during the season, whatever. I'm fine with that. Lastly, I just want to end with one thing, and I want to talk about a team that's not the Eagles. And it's the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if you're following what happened to the Cleveland Browns yesterday, but they lost their top 4 free agents. All left, went elsewhere, said, did my time here earn my worth? Someone wants to pay me free agency money? Where do I got to sign? Jacksonville? Someone wants me in Jacksonville? Where do I sign? Like, it's kind of sad that free agents are leaving Cleveland. to go to Jacksonville. And it's not so much that people left, but no one came in. Like, they created a plethora of holes and brought no one in to fill them. The reason why I'm bringing this up is be very careful, and specifically Howie Roseman and the Eagles, because you can just as easily be the next Cleveland Browns. Because one of the main things that leads to that is instability between your quarterback and your head coach. And right now, the Eagles are flirting dangerously with Cleveland Brown levels of instability at quarterback and head coach. That's why you got to get things going with Sam Bradford. If you draft a quarterback, even with that 8th round pick now, before I was against getting a quarterback in the 1st round, but that was when the Eagles had the 13th pick. The 13th pick versus the 8th pick, especially when I think, like, Dallas may actually be dumb enough to not take a quarterback with the 4th pick in the draft, and it's going to just all out confirm Jerry Jones' love affair for Tony Romo and how he's never going to move on from him, and he'll bring him out if he's in a wheelchair to play football if he has to. Anyways, if the best quarterback on the board is still on there at the 8th pick, I won't hold it against the Eagles for drafting them. But we got to get some stability here, because I looked at what happened to the Cleveland Browns, and I'm going to be like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, that better not ever be what the Philadelphia Eagles are like. And you know what? And that doesn't, and like, people are like, well, it's the Cleveland Browns. They never won anything. Why would free agents want to go there? Well, you know what? It doesn't really matter if you won something. Because if you think between Aikman to Romo, there was a solid 10, 11 seasons there where you didn't see the Dallas Cowboys attracting any big-name free agents, because they kept going through coaches and quarterbacks like it was nothing. Like, it was just like, shit, the next guy. Well, what's Quincy Carter doing? What's Ryan Leaf doing? Oh, let's get Bledsoe in here now to play quarterback. Oh, let's get another coach. I mean, that's just what happens when teams have instability on quarterback and your coach. You don't draw people in, and people get drawn away. And that's what happened with the Cleveland Browns. And I'm looking at that and I'm going like, wow, what a nightmare scenario. No hope for the future. And even if you sign a big name, when people see a stud selected out of college go to the Cleveland Browns, people just say, don't worry, kid, 4 years, you'll be with another team. Like, that's the attitude towards the Cleveland Browns. That's sad. That's sad. Like, I feel for them. Like, that's the one team that I feel really, really bad for, because they actually have it worse than the Eagles historically. If that's possible, the Cleveland Browns do. Anyway, big free agency day one. Liked all the moves, and I liked all the lack of moves from them Dallas Cowboys. Fuck you, Dallas. Have a good day, everyone.